Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? It's March 31st. So, first quarter of 2026 is gone. Today is the last day. Can you believe that we're already done with quarter 1? We're almost getting in quarter 2 tomorrow. So, let's talk about taxes. Let's talk about Actually, I'm going to be talking about myself. I just finished recording the content for April. And in the April content, I talk a lot about tax planning versus tax filing, what you need to know, and also the difference between tax professionals, CPAs, enrolled agents, just regular tax preparer. I talk a lot about that in April content. So if you're not subscribing to YouTube, subscribe. As I said before, I'll be going live more often. So make sure you subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and comment with your questions, with anything you want to know regarding tax season or just regular tax and accounting, or maybe business question. Because remember, I'm also a business owner like you. So I do most of the thing that I talk about, I do it for my own business. And today I want to talk more. I want to talk about myself. Actually, um, I was talking to my colleague at Nora's Books, and I was asking her, what should we talk about? And she said, why don't you talk about yourself and how you get there and how you decided to do this? I'm like, okay, people want to hear about that, maybe. So I'll share that with you today. I thought that would be also interesting since I'm going to be talking about tax planning and difference in tax people who do taxes. So what you need to know and how to select the right professional for yourself and for your business. So let's get started. Ready? All right. So if you've been following me for a while and if you know me since I started my business and maybe before, you would know I was talking a lot about nonprofits. And maybe some of you did not know me prior to that. So, also, some of you know me from my book. It's about nonprofits, available on Amazon. I still give people copies of my book every day. People love it. However, I am no longer focused on nonprofit. Even though I work with my clients or nonprofit clients, I still get nonprofit clients. We help them with bookkeeping, with taxes, with growing their donor base. Still have those. I still have those courses on my website, and the people can still subscribe to them. So still there. I still support nonprofits. I have the whole full. Playlist on my YouTube about nonprofits. Still there. I still send it to people and people still watch it. I still get people to save they save the playlist, they play it over and over. Actually. So it's still there, it's still in my heart. However, I decided to start focusing more on taxes and businesses 2 years ago because let me give you a little bit about my background for those of you who did not know me before. I am originally from Syria. I was born and raised in Syria, and I did my undergrad also in Syria. My undergrad was in business administration, and I moved to the US back in 2000, so to Chicago. So I've been living in Chicago for the last 26 years, long time. This is where I raised my kids. This is where I also went to school for a graduate degree. So I got my master in business information technology. I worked with corporate world, I worked with nonprofits, and what got me into nonprofit was really Syria, my homeland, my roots got me to work in nonprofits. Now, when I worked with nonprofit, like I got to do like development. I was the Middle East program director, so I established office in the overseas. I worked with grants. I worked um, in marketing. I worked in technically everything that any business owners would work on, or any nonprofits founder would work on. So I was totally in charge with a lot of area. I worked with several nonprofits. I helped them grow their donor base, and I helped people on the ground. That was my how my heart worked. Like, I loved that work because I saw the impact right away. But when I started my business, let me tell you before that I in 2017 I decided to leave the nonprofit work and then get back to corporate. So this is where I worked uh, 2 years with Robert Half, where I got a chance to see so many industries, and I worked in the finance department in different roles. That time before COVID, they had a program called SBS service. What? No, SBS salaried professional services, where they hired me and then they lent me to other people. So I loved that job because I got to be introduced to so many industries, learn too many things, and actually got to meet a lot of great people. And this is when COVID hit. When COVID hit, they stopped that program. So I lost that job. And this is when I said, okay, you know what? Let me start my tax and accounting firm. And at that time, I didn't want to do taxes. I wanted to just do bookkeeping. That was my goal, to do just bookkeeping. And I joined a coaching program for tax and accounting people. And my coach at that time, she's actually a tax professional, and she was teaching people or tax professional how to build recurring income like bookkeeping. So I joined that program, and I had a question. We at that time we were meeting every day, and I had a question to her, like, and I started it with, I only want to do bookkeeping. I don't want to do taxes. And she stopped me there and asked me why. And I just needed that question for me to question the same question to myself. Yeah, why? So I decided to try. That was the year 2021. That was the year when IRS decided to extend the tax season one more month. They extended it until May. So, and when I decided to do that, it was April. So I had a month to start trying that. And I got a few clients. One of my, one of the like still great clients, and some of them are friends, some of them, they supported me since the beginning. So I started working on that. And this is when I realized that, oh, this is interesting. This is amazing because I see how can I save people money. I see how tax law is really dynamic, and you can find ways to save the client legally, but most people don't talk about it. I help some people that tax season, and this is when I decided, okay, I think I like this and I want to continue with it. So kept growing my business, doing taxes, bookkeeping, doing like some other accounting compliance stuff. And a few years ago, like almost 3 years ago, I decided to move into tax planning. I still do taxes. We do have tax preparing clients, which is like, like businesses, nonprofits, and individuals people. I love that because this is when you see the results. Even when you do tax planning, you don't really see the real results until you do your taxes. This is when you see, oh, you are truly saving people in taxes, and people are satisfied and happy because you're saving them in taxes. And I'm happy more than them because I see that I was able to deliver results and protect them from overpaying and without getting them in trouble, because I don't do anything that shady or legal. Um, so I started doing taxes or tax planning. I started doing tax planning, and main thing for me for tax planning is the governments, and not only the US government, I believe all governments, they write the tax law in a way they want you to do something they want. So they want to push you to do an action. So they give you an incentive for doing that. But a lot of people, especially from middle class, they're afraid to do anything creative using the tax law because they think, oh, we don't want to get in trouble, we're going to pay whatever, but we don't want to do any planning. So they end up paying the bill. They pay the refund for the riches, they pay the refund for the lower income people because they are afraid to be on charge and use the tax law for their advantage. The tax law that is written for them. They're afraid to use it. So they end up paying the most in taxes. And then they start complaining. Oh, I can't see my money. My paycheck has gone to taxes. Look, they took all my bonuses. I don't see my money. And they keep complaining. But successful people don't complain, they take action. So instead of taking action, some people complain. And instead of complaining, some people like see a problem and they take action. And they start planning to make sure they never overpay in taxes. So I decided to help people who do not have access to a good tax architect, a good tax planning person. And they maybe like don't have access to a family office or like to work with a huge team. I wanted to give people access to do the tax plan. So I decided to do a lower entry point for those people who are interested in tax planning and keeping their money with them so they can optimize their life, optimize their children's life, build their legacy while they are staying in compliance and never get in trouble with the governments. So we decided to do tax planning at Norris Books. So we started doing tax planning, and people are really attracted to the idea and love it. Some people, they never heard of it before. Some people, they see other people how they are saving in taxes and they've been looking for opportunities. Some people, they're just afraid to touch it. And that breaks my heart. You know why? Because I see the opportunity, but also I see the people are afraid to take action. They rather pay 50,000 plus to the governments instead of keeping that money within their family. That breaks my heart. Other people, they just go ahead and take action and start the plan and work with us all year round. And they're very happy when they see the results at year end. And when they see their wealth is growing and growing and growing and growing every single month because they have been taking action. They see their paycheck not going to the IRS anymore. They see that they can save money. So, if you are one of those people who really wants to save in taxes, really want to build wealth, I want you to start taking action now. Not only taking action with filing your taxes with the right person, but also start planning for next year's taxes now. Because in January next year, it's too late. You have to start now. The earlier you start, the most you save. So if you are interested on talking more about your tax situation, I want you to book a call with me right now. You can also call my office at 312 741 1978. 312 741 1978. And I'll be happy to talk to you about how can we optimize your tax situation. All right? If you're new here, my name is Noor Al-Masri. I am a tax and accounting professional, and I help people stop overpaying in taxes legally. Subscribe to my YouTube. Let me know if you have any questions so I can go live and talk about it with you. And follow me on Instagram. Also, Instagram people, you can find the link to book a call with me on the bio. So see you later. Have a great day and see you later.